Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen. We've got somebody we actually have a couple of people who have written in and urgently want to know your thoughts on the current COVID vaccination and giving that to the people are concerned about giving it to their children on the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
And
great question. Great question.
It is a great question. And I know there's a lot of concern around this. Yeah.
Let's talk about this. So, I'm a strong believer that we don't, with everything, not just with autism, but with everything, you cannot, you can't overgeneralize, right? You have to really ask yourself the questions and go into detail. So let's ask ourselves the questions of why have, historically, why has there been a fear about vaccines in the world of autism to begin with? What is that all about? And the research that led to all of that was in two different formats. One was research that was published that showed that the DTaP or the DPT vaccines, the diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus vaccine series, used to be bound together. It had a binding agent that was thimerosal, and thimerosal was I'm going to join you, Shannon, from my computer.
Okay,
that's
there we go. The electricity must be back on.
Yeah, the electricity just came back on, and I thought I should just join you here. So, so thimerosal was mercury, and it was causing our kids toxicity levels that were not acceptable. So a lot of families then basically reacted to that and stopped taking the DTaP vaccine. Further, the flu vaccine as well has a massive amount of thimerosal. In fact, later, I don't remember the year now, I think it would have been like 2007 or something, the binding agent was changed, but it caused a significant reaction in the world of autism. After that, there was also research that showed that a lot of children developed very severe gastrointestinal inflammation after having received the MMR vaccine. It was a completely different thing. It had nothing to do with the mercury issue, but it had to do with the inflammation of the gut. And it went back and forth, and there's a massive amount of controversy around it. But I can tell you that realistically, the research shows that there is a lot of gastrointestinal inflammation occurring in children. And it's not just about the MMR vaccine per se. It's a fact that with our children, they are immunocompromised, which basically means that their immune system is not functioning the way that it does in us. And a lot of that actually has to do with their redox capability, their ability to detoxify from various toxins. And that is a fact. In fact, it's getting so bad in our environment, Shannon, that almost everyone has some sort of GI issue now, and a gastrointestinal issue now. And a lot of these issues are just because the toxicity level has gotten so high in our food and the use of plastics and the air, and our food is probably the biggest source, water, etc., that we are no longer able to detoxify. And so that is absolutely something that is of concern with our kids, because they are have a harder time with vaccines. The way that traditional vaccines work is that they're giving you a very, very minuscule amount of the disease, and your immune system is supposed to react and eventually and basically put up a wall against that disease, because your immune system now has a tiny taste of it and is now going to crush it and now become so strong that that disease or that virus or whatever it is will not attack you anymore. Now, the current vaccine, the COVID vaccine, is completely different theoretically, right? The way that it was made has absolutely nothing to do with giving you a small particle of the disease at all. It's not that. It is made by a messenger RNA. The vaccine, it changes your genetic composition. So what it does is they're giving instructions. Think of it as a message. It's not it is not a little bit of COVID so that your body reacts to it. Not at all. It is a message that is being given to your genes, your genetic structure, and your genetic structure then the message is, hey, there's a virus out there. We want you to start protecting my body against it. And then your genetic information and it reacts and then produces the antibodies that would normally be in place had you been exposed to COVID. So this is a little different. They're not exposing you to the virus. They're actually giving a message to your immune system to react before it has ever been exposed. So we've never had a virus like a vaccine like this before. Whether or not it doesn't follow the rules of past vaccines and our concerns. It doesn't have toxic metals in it or mercury. It doesn't have that kind of a fear that would potentially cause inflammation in the gut, as in the measles vaccine, etc. So it doesn't follow those rules anymore. So one would say, maybe I shouldn't be too concerned about it because it's not within the same category. Having said that, it's brand new. We don't know. There hasn't been enough time to study this and to figure out, will it cause any kind of problem, not just in kids who are immunocompromised, but in general. We don't know enough about this thing, right? Now we're reading that, for instance, it might be causing heart problems in people who received the Moderna vaccine who are of a certain age. Things will come out about these vaccines. We will learn. They will make them better. I guess if I had children on the spectrum right now, I would probably wait because that's just my personal, and I think this is a decision that each parent has to make. First of all, we don't really have a vaccine that's appropriate for children yet. It hasn't been approved yet. I think Pfizer goes down to age 12, if I'm not wrong, but below
Yes.
that, we don't have anything. So let's wait and see what comes. And let's keep reading and learning about the science.
Yeah. And I, since I disclosed that I got my shot, I feel that it's only fair that I disclose that my son, who's turning 18 next week, also got his shot. And I'll keep you posted, but he was fine. And my son has had autoimmune issues in the past. And it was a long process that I had to go through and that I talked to a lot of people about it. And I talked, because he's turning 18, I also talked to him about it, and made a determination based on a lot of different factors. It was not a light decision, but it was a decision that we made. And so I want to be open about that we did make the decision, and he made the decision, and he has now had both of his shots, Pfizer. So I'll keep you guys posted on how all of that goes. Okay. So
There
there was
was
another.
a question, if I remember. I don't remember what it was now, but I think there was someone was asking about a genetic disorder, or saying that their
Yes.
child has. I don't remember what it was because
It is the same. Yeah, it is the same person who was saying that they would like cameras in the school, and that they're finding out that, and they would like to have different people in the school, and they've hired lawyers. And the genetic disorder, I'm going to find it and tell you that they were saying Smith-Magenis syndrome, which I'm not aware of. 11-year-old.
Yeah, it's a chromosome deletion disorder, and if I'm not wrong, it's chromosome 17 deletion. But it's some of its symptoms. It's actually an interesting question because a lot of times with our kids who are diagnosed with autism is diagnosed based on symptoms, right? And sometimes when you find out more, this again is one of those things where you have to know the biology of the child. When you find out more and you do genetic testing, you realize that there's underlying genetic deletions or issues with chromosomes. Now, because some of the things with chromosome 17 will result in similar issues, like you'll have challenging behaviors. With this particular disorder, you will also have some intellectual disability. If I'm not wrong, I think you also have sleep issues. So you're going to have some similar types of issues going on. From a therapy and support perspective, behavior therapy is the way to go. And also, you should probably be also doing a lot of physical types of therapies like occupational therapy and physical therapy. And it is a little bit harder to deal with. My heart goes out to you. It's tough. It's very, very tough. You definitely need an intense system of support around you.
Wonderful. We have so many more questions, but we're out of time. I want to thank you, Dr. Grant-Pichet, for being here and being so willing to answer people's questions. It's such a wonderful thing. I want to thank everybody that asked questions and everybody who just was here for listening. I want to point out that, again, if you have a question that's about school, our special education attorney that we have as a regular on the show is back tomorrow. Bonnie Yates will be with us. And then on Friday, we have Leah Hirschfeld's going to be with us talking about recent research in the field of autism. And Nancy Alsabad-Jackson will be joining with me, and we'll be talking about news stories that are of interest this week. So that's what's happening this week. Dr. Grant-Pichet, thank you so much for being here. We're going to say goodbye for now, but give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.